probably one of my favorite things to talk about. The idea that someone with more experience can share what they know and guide someone with less experience to be just as successful, if not more successful, than the mentor is a beautiful thing. The fact about the mentor taking somebody under their wing to not only reinforce their profound knowledge, but also to reveal certain things that they didn't know, is also a beautiful thing. In this case, both parties have much to gain and very little to lose, which is exactly why I believe this is one of the most important and fundamental relationships that I think everyone should have. Unfortunately, I can't say that I've ever had a personal mentor. I've never had anybody guide me through how to get better at something very specific, like how to improve better at sports, or how to play an instrument better, or how to improve my public speaking skills. However, there is one person that comes pretty close to the definition of a mentor that I can think of, and that's my dad. My dad has been my biggest mentor in my life, and he's mentored me on life. And so I want to share a couple of those lessons with you that he's taught me over the years. My dad grew up very poor and started working at the very early age of 8 to help his family put food on the table when he was still living back in Mexico. Throughout his teen years, he moved around a lot of different states, always staying with different family members and family friends, always looking for that next job. In his 20s, he immigrated to the United States and also moved around a lot. He lived in states like Washington, he lived in Virginia, he lived in North Carolina, and then finally ended up here in Texas. He's always worked in construction, and he had his own share of life mentors that helped him along the way, guiding him with the tools to where now he owns his very own house renovating company. That's fortunately been in business for over the past 20 years. He's 54 now, and there are still very few days that he takes off. He works most weekends out of the year, including Sundays. He also works throughout most of the holidays. And so growing up, I always wondered, how does he have the energy to work so much? How does he have the drive to work so much? And I always admired his incredible work ethic. And so one day I asked him, I don't remember exactly when it was that I asked him or how I asked him, but I do remember that whenever I asked him that very question, he gave me a very simple answer. He said, "I do it for you and your brother." This taught me something very valuable very early on. It taught me that the thing that often gives us the most drive to keep pushing forward, to keep working tirelessly, and to never throw in the towel is when you do it for somebody other than yourself. This someone can be your kids, like it was for my dad, or it can be your partner, or it can be a close friend, or just anybody that's meaningful in your life. So for the first lesson that I learned, if you ever find yourself at a loss for motivation, drive, ask yourself, am I only doing this for myself? The other lesson that I learned from my dad that I'd like to share with you today is on the importance of money. First, I want to start by saying that my dad is the most noble person that I know. He's the most generous person that I know, almost to a fault, to the point where he's lended his time and his last dollar to people that have stabbed him in the back multiple times. And even then, he holds no grudges. My dad has always harped on me and my brother on the importance of making money because he assures that without money, there is absolutely no way that we could ever be happy. The first time he said this to us at the dinner table, I had this conflicting idea in my head, because here I had my dad telling me that without money, there's no way you can be happy. And then here I have everybody else telling me that money isn't everything, that money can't buy happiness. But my dad strongly disagrees. And he basically said it like this: yes, money isn't everything. If you're focusing on the materialistic crap, like cars, fancy clothes, stuff like that. But we live in a society where money allows you to provide for your loved ones when they're in need. Money allows you to help people. Money allows you to spend quality time with your friends and family because you have the money and the means to go on family vacations, to take trips with your friends. And probably the most important thing is that money allows you to live a financially stress-free life because you're not having to constantly worry day in, day out, week in, week out, just to make ends meet. A lot of people say that money is the root of all evil. But I think the lesson that I got from this interaction with my dad is that I think for everyday people like you and I, it's actually the lack of money that's the root of all evil. And so there are many more lessons that I can share with you that I've learned from my personal life mentor. But these are just two that have really stuck with me, and I hope they offer some kind of guidance to you. So just to recap, remember that the secret to everlasting drive and vigor is to work for somebody other than yourself. Remember that money is just as important as to making your happiness as anything else that you can think of. And lastly, remember that none of these life lessons would have been possible if I didn't have some sort of mentor. In this case, it was my life mentor, my dad. And so I hope that after today, you go out there and you seek out your very own mentor, and hopefully somebody come back and share with us what you learned. Thank you.